Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what I think is already a very unique and interesting topic, customer acquisition, but not in terms of how you usually think about it. I have a very special guest with me, Roger Martin. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you.
So Roger, you are the CEO of an emerging brand, Rockbox, and you have an interesting topic for today's episode lined up: how to get new customers to finance your ability to find new customers. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but I mean, right off the bat, I've never heard anybody say that. So what do you mean by that strategy when you say that?
Yeah. So just very quickly, I own one brand. I'm a partner in other national franchises, brick and mortar franchises. And so we have a recurring membership model that fuels the business. And so our franchisees are looking to get members to sign up. So there's memberships, and every month they make money off that member, of course, and of course provide them great service and a wonderful experience. But in a recurring revenue model business, think software as a service, which is a huge market. Think a gym membership like I'm talking about, or a self-care membership like with Beamlight Sauna. We too often as business people rely on, well, I'm going to pay, I'm making these numbers up. I'm going to pay $200 to acquire a customer because of the amount I have to pay for leads, how many leads I can actually get on the phone, how many people I can actually get to come to try a trial and then sign up and give me money. And I may only making this up, $100 off that customer the first month, but I know that lifetime value of this customer, I will have a profitable customer journey with this customer. And if I do that enough and long enough, I'll be profitable. And that's the way, like, if you think about, I'm going to use Planet Fitness as a gym as an example. I'm on the complete opposite end with Rockbox Fitness, which is a very boutique offering. Planet Fitness is for the masses and it's $10 a month or whatever. It costs them more than $10 to acquire a customer. But they're betting and they're banking that they can keep a customer for 36 months, that's their average. So 3 years, they'll make $360 on that customer. I think there's some upgrades that the customer can do in that particular model. But they also, their model is that 92% of the people never come back for a second workout, so they can just keep selling memberships, right? Very different than boutique fitness like I have with Rockbox Fitness. But they know they're going to lose money that first month, really the first 6 or 7 months to acquire that customer. But then once the customer gets to the 8th, 9th month, they're making 100% profit on that customer because the customer doesn't use the services, and they keep paying for 36 months till they finally cancel and say, I'm never going, I might as well cancel. That's one way to do it. And there's a lot of software companies that will pay, more to acquire a customer and only make, $50 in the first ring. I call it ring, the first ring of the cash register when you actually process that credit card or, get the wire or whatever it is. And it's because they know that their lifetime value of that customer is going to be XYZ, which is way more than the customer acquisition cost. That model is fine. And most of your listeners who are listening may work in businesses like that, or a lot of your listeners. And so I don't want to knock that model. That has built dynasties. But there's a better way to do this, especially for small and mid-sized businesses. When you're a Fortune 500, and I've worked for Fortune 50 companies, it's basically, your budget is unlimited to go figure this out. But when you're a smaller mid-sized business, you need to start making profit pretty damn quickly, especially if you have a brick and mortar, because you have rent, you have utilities, you have staff, you have, advertising costs, all this. And, you got to make more than it costs to run the business. So I believe in having an offer, and I've studied and extensively read and studied on pricing, the psychology of pricing, how to effectively price. And so many small and mid-sized businesses are underpricing their goods and services, Brandon, because they'll look to the right and the left and see what the competition is doing. Well, let's be right there, or maybe slightly less, and we'll get a few more customers, which is the wrong way to price. You want to price based on the value. What What is your product or service worth to the person looking to buy it? In my case with Rockbox Fitness, it's weight loss. You don't have to look very far to know that people will pay a whole lot of money to lose weight. They'll do cool sculpting. They'll do Ozempic for $900 a month, forever. They'll pay personal trainers ridiculous amounts of money forever. And so I know that even if a gym down the street's offering a $10 membership or a $50 membership, the value in the consumer's head, if we really get to the conversation, is, yeah, I'll pay $200 a month. Yeah, if you can get this 30 pounds off of me, no problem. So the way we price our services in my businesses and my brands, and I have another company that does outbound sales, and that's a $50,000 item. So instead of a $200 membership, it's a $50,000 wire that comes in, because the value of what we provide for the person buying that $50,000 service is so much more than the 50 grand, because of the work we save them and the money we make them almost immediately. And so that's why we price it where we price it. And so my point that I'm driving toward here is, if it costs you $100 to acquire a customer, and this varies by industry, and if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So figure out what it costs to acquire a customer. How many leads do you have to buy? What do you have to pay in sales commissions? What does it cost to acquire a customer? Let's say it's $100 to make this really, really easy. Then your first ring, your first product or service that you offer, that first interaction with a customer, when they say, okay, I'm going to do business with Brandon, Brandon should charge that client at least $200 to $300. You want to 2 to 3x your acquisition cost. At 2 to 3x, that leaves room for when leads get more expensive. That leaves room for when your close rate goes down a little bit because you've had some staff churn or whatever it may be. But at 2 to 3x means, let's do some really funky math here, or just made up math here. I'm going to put $1,000 of ad spend out into the marketplace, or referral bonuses, or however you acquire customers. You have to spend money almost always to acquire customers until you're super established. And so let's say I put $1,000 of Google pay-per-click or Facebook, Instagram ads, or YouTube ads, or whatever it may be, or paying a guy to spin a sign on the sidewalk, whatever it is, whatever your acquisition strategy is. But I got to pay $1,000. I'm going to put $1,000 of spend out there, and I'm going to get, let's make this up. I'm going to get 20 leads, right? So $50 a lead. I'm going to get 20 leads. I'm going to get 10 of them to show, and I'm going to sell, let's say 6 of them. I'll sell 60% of those 10 that show. This always varies by industry. Well, I need to make sure that those 6 that buy are paying, especially at $50 a lead, are paying at least $300 for their first transaction with me, so that I now have netted $800 of profit. I generated $1,800 of revenue, but it cost me $1,000 of ad spend to get it, but I generate $800, which means I can immediately put that $800 back into, I can keep the $800. I can immediately put that $1,000 back into the marketplace and do it again, and rinse and repeat, do it again and again and again. Where I find this goes wrong, and where people miss this opportunity, is 2 things. One, they price their product or service based on what the competition is doing, which should have nothing to do with anything. If you're pricing at your competition, what you're saying is, yeah, I'm exactly the same. We're no better, we're no worse, we're exactly the same. Use price as a way to differentiate your product or service. And it's not my line. I think Dan Kennedy, who's a big famous internet marketer, said, there's no advantage to being the second highest priced offering in the marketplace. There's none. It says we're second best. And there's no advantage to being the second least expensive. So either be the most expensive in your market or be the least expensive. And I do not want to knock being the least expensive. That is a strategy. Not my strategy, but that is a strategy, and that works for many brands. But then, somebody else is going to come in and cut by $1, then it's going to race to the bottom, I think, and it's kind of a death spiral. So use price as a way to differentiate yourself from your competition. Don't look to see what they're spending. That's a limiting belief. I have a professional coach, and I just had a coaching call with her today, and we were talking about limiting beliefs, and I was talking about breaking limiting beliefs with my staff, and she then brought up one of my own limiting beliefs, and I'm like, damn, you just held the mirror up to me. You're right, and pricing is a limited belief practice where we don't think we're worth more, or our service or product is worth more than the competition. And that's the wrong way to look at it. So you have to use price and price your product or service at the value the person who will buy it values it at. If you don't really have a big impact on people's life, you don't solve a really big pain point, you don't help them make more money, have a better relationship in life, or have better health, you're probably not going to be able to charge very much for your product or service, because you're not getting someone out of a place of pain or taking them to a higher level of pleasure, or whatever that may be, higher financial reward, whatever that may be, better relationship, because usually it's relationship, money, or health. But if you are helping somebody make more money, better the relationship, or change the health, people will pay a lot for that. If you're in a terrible marriage, and I don't sell marriage counseling, but let's say I sell marriage counseling, I wouldn't look around what other marriage counselors would do. I would make an irresistible offer, like, I will help you fix your marriage for 15 grand. I'm making this up, 15 grand, but I guarantee it. And if I can't help you, repair your relationship, and within 1 year, you're in a better place than you've ever been, I'll give you 100% of your money back. Therapists don't think like that. No, I can bill insurance $80, and that's what I do for the stuff, and that's what we charge. But why not break away and reframe your offer so that you can then go after those private paying clients, if you're in marriage counseling, to use that as an example, and charge something that is way higher than the market, so that if it costs you $3,000 to find these cash paying patients or clients that don't want their marriage to fall apart, they're going to pay you 15 grand, because the divorce is a whole lot more expensive than 15 grand. And an unhappy life is worth a lot more than 15 grand, right? So if we get back to, my model, if it costs me, in boutique fitness, $100 to acquire a customer, $80 to acquire a customer, then I want that first ring. And our first ring is $200 plus then another $100 in accessories and gear they need to do rock boxing gloves and wraps and a duffel bag and all this stuff. So immediately we generate $300 off the top. My franchisees generate $300 for, let's say around an $80 acquisition cost, depends on the year, time of year, all that stuff. So they're getting, almost a 4-to-1 return on that, and they can put that money right back into the marketplace. We're doing the same thing with our outbound sales company. That's more of a behind the scenes brand. It's not really a consumer facing brand, but where we price it and price it high enough so that we can hire the best people, pay the best commissions, have very, very low turnover. Because as you know, outbound sales teams, it's a revolving door. And we don't have that. Like, the only turnover we've had has been, we told them to leave, we fired somebody. So because of where we price, we can afford to do that. And so Brandon, this, this topic of customers financing your ability to get more customers, or really, I would say it a different way, I want my current customer to finance what it costs to get me them right then, right there. And when you do that and you price at that level that will allow you to do that, your business will grow. It's just that people have limiting beliefs, and they're, I hate to use the word, but they're scared to do that, because, what if I get known as the most expensive in town? Lucky you. That means you're the best. Yeah. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. But it's not super complex or hard, but it just takes the tenacity and the grit and the belief in your own business that you deserve this higher price, so that you can afford to have your customers finance you getting that customer.
Yeah, it's one of these things where the general consensus in the marketplace is even maybe one step further and say have a loss leader, which I am always against. So if you're gonna hire us for consulting services and you come to us with that, just know that what I'm already gonna say. So there you go. But it's have a loss leader and say, let's use your example. If it costs $100 to acquire a client, be okay spending up to $300, $400, $500, because you know that you'll make it up within 6 months. That's the dumbest philosophy I think I've ever heard of. But even what you're saying is go one step further. No, don't just break even, actually be profitable. What's the difference between, I'm sure you've seen this with your business now, all the business experience that you have, how much slower do you go going the traditional model or even the loss leader model? Because obviously life happens and people don't stay on for 6 months. Have you ever compared side by side, like how much, or better yet, how much faster a Rockbox can grow than a Planet Fitness?
Yeah, it's 100%, and very different models, right? They're going after this mass
Right.
market that really doesn't want to work out. So it's a very different model. So I think a different way to look at that is there are boutique fitness boot camps, what we're going to call them, that charge like $99, and we charge 200, and then more for additional programs and depending what you want and some other services we offer. I've never seen any one of those $99 half price of us, any of those $99 boot camps make it. Like they all go out of business. Even if they're a national chain, I watch them go out of business. They can't sustain that. They can't provide quality. They can't provide because the customer, in my case too, customer doesn't want to work out. Like that's the hardest thing I have to get across my franchisees. They honestly don't want to buy your product. They want to buy they don't want to buy my brand. They just want to lose the 30 pounds so their wife looks at them differently, or they can take their shirt off at the pool, or their girlfriends, start asking her, "What are you doing? You look amazing." That's what they want. They do not want to work out. They want the results. And just like consulting services that you saw, they really don't want to talk to you. They want you to help them get them to that level they're trying to get. And so it's about, and by the way, loss leaders, again, that can be a strategy, but a better way to do it would be a lead magnet. Give away something of real value, something that is really like worth something that people would normally pay for. They would normally pay for it, but give it away. And you're going to build trust. And when you build trust, then when you ask for the sale at a higher ticket price, they're going to think, man, if that free thing was this good, then how good is it when I actually hire Brandon to do my consulting, right? Like, so I'm with you. I don't believe in a loss leader product because that means I've lost. I'm losing money. I hate that. I believe in giving value. This is what you're doing right now is you're creating content. You're giving away free content that's valuable. Hopefully they find this valuable. And that value builds your brand, and the ability when they actually do consult or they do ask you to consult, there's already a high level of trust and you've established expertise because you've given away so much for free. So instead of a loss leader, give it away. You'll get a lot more leads, and then sift through those leads to find the people that will actually buy it.
Yeah, it's that it is that silver bullet mentality though that you brought up. So whereas you're not competing with Planet Fit, you are competing with Ozempic, like hands down, because people want the silver bullet, right?
And Netflix. I compete with Ozempic and Netflix. You nailed it.
Which is, you don't think about that, right? Like I wouldn't say, this is kind of ironic. I don't know if you know this, maybe you do, maybe you don't. My local Planet Fitness, there is a rock box attached to it.
I do. I know that one. You're okay, yeah.
In Raleigh, right? In the Wake Forest area. It is the only building there. It's not like it's a strip mall with multiple. It is this building with these two locations. So as soon as we had started having this conversation, I'm thinking, brilliant, both strategies, right? Because you're talking about both things, the cheap model and the expensive model.
Yep.
On the surface, you're saying the same message. You want to lose the 30 pounds. How are you as Rockbox communicating effectively to the marketplace that we are not that, first and foremost? They are them, we are us. But also we guarantee this 30-pound difference without Ozempic, and you don't want Netflix either. Like what is your strategy to approach that? It's just a very ironic situation.
It's funny. Yeah, it's a Wake Forest. I know Kyle is the owner. And that Planet Fitness was there first, and they offered the space, and we said that sounds crazy. And then we talked. We're like, actually, this makes brilliant sense because they are two different customers, two very different customers. And usually, what you'll find is somebody won't downgrade from a Rockbox to a Planet Fitness, but they will upgrade from a Planet Fitness to a Rockbox or any boutique fitness. And the way we differentiate it is Planet Fitness says, come on in, or any big box gym, come on in. You can use any of our equipment. You're basically renting access to our equipment, and we're open, 15 hours a day or 24/7, whatever it is. And if you want personal training, we do have that available. Of course, that's a lot more expensive, but here's the, here's everything you could want: treadmills and weights and whatever. Good luck. And with Rockbox, we say, no, let's sit down. Let's understand what you're trying to do. Why you really, you want to lose 30 pounds, but there's a reason. There's got to be a reason that you really want to lose those 30 pounds. Let's be honest, tell me so I can help you. And we can keep coming back to that. If you start to get, discouraged or unmotivated, then we help them with their nutrition. We have a customized nutrition plan with meal planning and a meal prep guide, a recipe guide that goes with it, a grocery list, a date night dining out guide, so you can still go out and have fun, and order off the same menu, but not have a 2,000 calorie meal. because the way you'll have the kitchen prepare it. And then we have accountability groups where we put people in, and we do it through an app, and we do it in person. We do both human and through an app, depending on what the person likes. That we track their weight, we track their goals, we track their progress. If they don't show up to the studio in 10 days, there's a report that's kicked out, and the GM or the person will call, and Brandon, you okay? Just haven't seen you in here in 10 days, and you're usually in here 3 days a week. What's going on? Oh, no, I'm traveling business. Cool. Or man, yeah, I got busy with life. Hey, Brandon, I remember when you came to me, you wanted to lose 30 pounds. You're down 22, as I recall, based on the data I have here in the app. We got 8 more to go, man. Let me schedule your next session right now while you're on the phone. Planet Fitness doesn't call. They don't want those people to come in, right? So very different model. And so how do we position it? Well, we position it as a huge value stack that is different. So because we have people say, they come in all the time. Hey, well, I can take my whole family to the Y for $89, and we say, how's that working out for you? Why are you here then? Like, I'm being a smart aleck, but we say it a little differently, but it's true. It's like, of course, there's always options, and there's perfect options for everybody. I want to serve, and I want my franchisees and my businesses serve the people that are ready to spend money to get a higher level of service, better results. And a lot of them have a guarantee behind it. Like the outbound sales thing, if we don't get you a certain amount of revenue and a certain amount of members, we give them half of their feedback. Like hey, we missed. It's, what's fair is fair. So, yeah, I could go on for hours on this, but you've got a tight little awesome podcast. But I will say that if your listeners had a loss leader, rethink that into a lead magnet, maybe even downgrade it slightly, whatever, into a lead magnet that is free to distribute or very close to. Price at what the market's willing to pay. People will stab themselves in the stomach, with a no-zipic pin, for $900 a month. So they'll probably pay $200 to actually add some muscle versus lose muscle and fat and know that they'll be on this for life, right? So, but we have to show them that there is a way, and it's not going to be as hard as they think it may be, where they know Ozempic, they just take a shot. So rethink your loss leader, rethink your pricing, and figure out a way, and just get a spreadsheet built that whatever it costs you to acquire a customer, and make sure you're capturing all those costs, and then figure out what you need to at least double, if not triple that in the first ring, which could be maybe the average person does 150% of that acquisition cost. But with upsells, the average is brought up to 300%. So there's ways to skin that cat, which is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I love it. No, we could spend hours on this, because this is the one piece of running a small business, especially, that I think holds a lot of people back, and they get stuck on, because they don't know where is that value versus delivery piece and time. We didn't even talk about how much time it takes to deliver in terms of that value. So a lot of different roads we can go here. But Roger, I got to thank you to take time out of your day and come share this with us, because it's a model that's counterintuitive, and a lot of people haven't crossed that bridge. So thank you for sharing this wisdom with us.
My pleasure. If this just spurs someone, one of your listeners, to go on and at least start going down that road to better their business, it's been a win.
Absolutely. So I put your website on the screen. Is that the best place to learn more about you?
Yeah, thrivemorebrands.com. You'll be able to see our brands. I have a podcast similar to Brandon, a little longer format. I dropped a book in January that is about how to grow a small and mid-sized business, and the finance operations, marketing, branding, the whole thing. So all that's there at thrivemorebrands.com.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, wherever you're watching and listening, make sure you go check that out in the show notes. It's down there below. Everything we talked about is down there below. And make sure you subscribe too. We put out these episodes 5 days a week, because we love helping you grow your business. I can feel that Roger does too. So go check out all his resources. We'll see you on tomorrow's episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Thanks for